hits to the bucket. Layup, Johnson, good!
All right, welcome back, everybody. A new episode of Talkin' Sports with me, Chris Powers, as we've got lots to talk about. But we're getting to that point. I know where colleges are busy, 11 sports going on at one time. But in media-wise, this is starting to be the down slope for sports, really, in a way. NCAA tournaments over. SWAC tournaments are over, or SEC tournaments are over. Baseball's coming in, but still a ways to go. So we got a little ways to go before baseball begins their conference tournaments and then the regionals and stuff of that nature. Because right now, LSU would probably not host a regional. They wouldn't. So once again, I don't know. But anyway, let's talk about a couple of things. Coaches' pressure. And I know what coaches' pressure. And some of you may look back and say, well, you know what? No. They make millions of dollars. I don't feel sorry for them. But think about that, the stability. Now, they get the payoff, okay. But you move your family somewhere and what have you, and you're there. But you're not given much time anymore to build a program. You're not given much time. Maneri said that for South Carolina. Coach Kelly said that about here at LSU. You're not given time. 4 years is not enough time. 5 years, maybe. And with the transfer portals, everybody think, well, that's transfer portals. You sound like a fan when you say that. You sound like a fan that don't know what they're talking about. And it's all right to be a fan. I am. But I'm also a realist to know that there's things happen behind the scenes that things happen and you don't know what happens. How much NIL money is there? They don't have to report how much NIL money they're spending. You can only give you a certain amount if you want, but you don't have to. So you don't know everything that goes on. Now, in the case of Gino versus Staley, that's not a pressure issue. She's not going anywhere at South Carolina. He's not going anywhere at UConn. But what happened, these coaches are getting kind of, more you see, they're not setting a good example. Coach Gino didn't set a good example. Now, he said he retracted. He said everything. He felt bad about what happened, big time. He waited over there a long time for her to come and shake his hand. At the beginning of a game, coaches come and they shake each other's hand. She did, but it happened. Coach Gino was sitting there waiting. He's the most winningest coach of all in college women's sports. In fact, I think of all basketball, both men and women. And yet, he's sitting there waiting. I would have left and went back to my side. If she's not there, I'm just go. But that's the thing where she took forever to get there. Then one of his players ripped her jersey because she got mad she missed a shot. And what'd she do after that? She made it like they did it, like South Carolina did it. Well, he got mad with that. Of course, I would too. Look, my player's is a ripped jersey. And he went to the ref. He said, I didn't see that. And, of course, because it didn't happen. She only admitted way after the game that she ripped her own jersey. That's bad. I can tell you this. If I'm the coach, you got to change your character, and you better change your character big time or you're out, because I don't want bad character on this team. That was a blatant lie, and you look what you did because of it. You started this firestorm. You started this firestorm big time, and that's sad. So the Gino and Staley thing that happened mid-court, that's just not setting a good example. And I don't blame Coach Staley for yelling back. I don't. I would have yelled big time back as well. And Gino called her after and apologized to her, put a public statement out apologizing, and also made that player admit that she lied and all that stuff. But Gino still shouldn't have done it. He had the competitive nature in him, and that he just lost it. They lost it. They got killed. Another example, Jay Johnson versus Nick from Kentucky. Well, I'm here. Come on, I'm here. When have you seen that? When have you seen coaches? Very seldom. Remember back in the old days of Bobby Knight and Dale Brown? When Bobby Knight slammed the phone and then threw the chair across the floor? Remember that? I mean, that kind of got fun. Dale Brown, when Shaq was fouled in the SEC tournament, got upset with that player. And, so it's happened before, but it seems like it's happening more and more now. UL's baseball coach, head baseball coach, Matt Deggs, was ejected from the game with James Madison at James Madison and went to the dugout of James Madison, and they had to hold him back. When have you seen that? What kind of example is that setting for your kids? Now, you apologized after and what have you, but you did the damage. You did the damage. On that same day, UL softball coach got ejected for defending her player too. Now, that happens every day, but isn't it just weird how that keeps trickling down like that? Coaches have more pressure, and the window of opportunity to win is now it's gone. There's no window. Will it ever stop? Will it ever stop in the world at all? Will there be a time where fans have patience in college? I don't know. But some places still do. For instance, Oklahoma. Oklahoma has patience. Bob Stoops stayed there for a long time, didn't win a national title. It happens. What about the University of Georgia? Look how long it took them not to be a champion. And then even when Kirby Smart got the job, it still took them a while. It took them 5 years. But yet, they had patience. LSU's and those Alabamas, they don't have patience anymore. It's crazy. It's not just LSU. It's Alabama. It's a couple. Texas probably as well. Maybe. I wouldn't even go with Texas because Sarkisian's been there and he hadn't won a national title. They keep getting on the doorstep and getting out. Oregon with Dan Lanning. He hadn't won a national title. Every year he gets close. Are they going to let him go? Ohio State is the biggest example. Ryan Day. Look how long it took him to win a national title at Ohio State. I didn't think he'd ever win one, but he finally did. So but what the problem is, it's not just the fans, it's the boosters. The whole setup is stupid. The whole setup is dumb. The way it's set up, and we'll talk more about the Trump thing in just a moment, but the whole setup is dumb because you are relying on boosters to pay to pay in the university, to keep funding your university, sports, and you're listening to them because they're saying, I'm not going to do it anymore if y'all don't fire this guy. I'm not going to do it anymore if you don't fire him. Or you don't fire her, I'm not giving you any more money. They're holding you hostage. They're blackmailing you. And that's dumb because other sports programs don't do that. You have to figure out another revenue source from sponsors, TV money, so you don't have to deal with these. If they want to give you money, fine. But I can tell you this. For me, if somebody blackmails me or somebody comes to me and says and puts an ultimatum to me, get the hell out of here. I don't care who you are. I don't care what the situation is. I've said that to several national prominent sports people. Coach K, Dale Earnhardt. When Dale Earnhardt acted like a big pompous, you know what? When I went to interview him, and his manager's the one that asked me to interview him. And he came to me and he goes, you get a one-sentence question and a one-sentence answer. And I said, well, just say this. They promote our radio station. We're a NASCAR station here in Louisiana, only one. He said, I don't do promos. And I told him, you know what? You could take this interview and shove it up your you-know-what. You put your pants leg on like me, brother, one leg at a time. You don't walk on water. And I walked away, and his mouth was wide open that somebody had talked to him that way. I don't care who you are, bro. You're not going to be rude to me. I'm going to be rude right back to you. I can be rude right back. That's why when people get upset with Trump, with President Trump, if they insult him, say he's a racist or this or that or that or this, that's when he gets mad, and that's when he says stuff that he shouldn't say. But I'm the same way. I'll do the same thing. If you're going to come after me, I'm going to come right back after you. And brother, I've got a lot of words in my vocabulary that I can come back after you with. I can embarrass you, I promise you. I'm a man of words. I can come back and embarrass the hell out of you. And you're going to wish that I never did. Fans, is it ticket prices that make the fans keep demanding change for these coaches? I think it's boosters. And again, they think they're experts. Stop spending the money that you spend in football. It keeps getting worse and worse and worse. So last year, Texas was the team that spent the most money. $298 million. $298 million on football. That includes NIL, operating the stadium, travel, recruiting budgets, everything. $298 million. $22 million of that was in NIL. The National Football League, they spend on their team, their salary cap is $301.2 million. So you're right up there almost at the NFL level. They don't get money from boosters. They don't get money from private rich people. They get their own revenue in other ways. They get their revenue on TV contracts, sponsorships, from naming stadium rights to putting something on the field, putting on jerseys, whatever. They get all of that other ways. You got to be smart. You're an athletic director, you're a president, or whatever you are of a university. You got to come up with other ways to where you're not being dictated what boosters are telling you to do. If you don't get away from that, that's another problem that you have in college sports. And Coach Saban said that. If you don't get away from that, then you're going to continue to have problems. You're going to continue to have a crappy – I don't know how college football survives, how college sports survives. I don't know. Because it's the biggest wreck I've ever seen, the biggest train wreck I've ever seen. So if you don't get away from that, NFL teams make about $687 million a year without boosters. Figure out how you can do that as well. You got to be smart enough. You're teaching business classes. You're teaching law. You're teaching everything. You're a university. You can't tell me you can't teach somebody to do that in their business quorum. You can't teach anybody to be better, to come up with better ways of producing money. If it's such a big-time sport, ratings-wise, everything else-wise, why can't you come up with more money besides the boosters? Boosters will kill your program. They act like professionals, and these guys have never done a football game in their life. All they sit there is drink during a game, and they give money because they don't know what else to do. But when their coach, when they don't want to, they're losing coach anymore, you get rid of them or I'm not giving you another dime. If I'm AD, but I wouldn't last, and this is the way this college sport is set up, if I'm the AD, well, get your ass out. You want me to help you show you the door, or you want to get out on your own? You can either two ways, walk out or I'll throw you out on your keister. Whatever you want to do. Because you can get out of my office talking to me that way. You can't do that anymore. Then you won't last. You can't have boosters or any rich people or corporations dictate to you how to run your business. Because would you do that to them? Hey, let me tell you what you're doing wrong in your business. Your paper waste management business. What you're doing wrong here. I had a guy, honestly, when I sold for advertising, I sold for radio stations one time. He actually came to me and said, Chris, I'm upset with you because I'm hearing other car dealerships on your radio station. I said, yeah, there is. Well, I don't think that this time there should be just me. Okay, let me tell you what. So you want exclusivity. Okay, here's what we do. You give me all your money for advertising. Your newspaper money, your billboard money, your TV money, all the money you spend for advertising, you give it to me. Exclusive way that you advertise is through me. And I'll make sure you're the only car dealership on my station. How about that? Well, I can't do that. Well, why do you think I can do that? You want exclusivity, but you don't want me to have exclusivity. No, it don't work that way, brother. It don't. That's the way it is. That's the way it is. So when you're having people dictate on how you run your business and they don't know nothing about your business, then you're asking for trouble. Do you think you can run somebody or run a nice corporate or even family? If people will tell me, Chris, is what I think you should do. They told me I can't be best friends with my son and be the father. Guess what? I did. And my son's a very well, groomed guy. He's courteous, opens the door for people, opens the door for his girlfriend, opens a car door for her. He's courteous to her. Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. He even did that before he went to the Marine Corps. And he's successful. He's a manager in a security firm. He is a bodyguard for billionaires in Los Angeles. And he's already, less than a year, became a manager. Less than a year. Because I taught him the work ethic, and I told him how to be nice to people, or you get 5 of these across your lip. You meet 4 sisters on Thumb Street, brother, and I swear you ain't going to like it. Even before he went to the Marines, he kind of said something smart to me. I said, brother, I will knock you out cold right now. I'll put you in this world, I'll take you out. Period. But he's but I mean, I've had to probably discipline him 4 times in his lifetime because he knew I meant business when I meant business. But yet he and I always went to movies together, brought him to Disney World, brought him on cruises, did everything with him. He and I were best buds. We still are today. He still calls me every day on my phone. Every day he'll call me. Sometimes, if he's off, he won't call me. But when he's on his way to work or something else, he calls his dad because one day I won't be here. And hopefully, for God bids, I hope that I go before him. Because I told him if he died in the Marines, I'm going to kill you. I said, Dad, I'll be dead. I'll kill you again. So, I mean, you can't tell anyone. So if somebody else tried to tell me that's not a good way to do it, I disagree. And I did it, and I was right. They were wrong. I was right. He hated it more to disappoint me than anything, the wrath of me. So with that, again, the bottom line is you cannot have people tell you how to run your business when they don't know nothing about your business. They have nothing, they know nothing about it. They either inherited the money, so they don't know how to make money on their own, and it's in escrow or in some kind of stock. They don't know how to make money, or they got money in the car dealership, the oil industry. So what the hell they know about sports? All of to read about on the phone or on the iPad what their team did. They don't know the ins and outs that go on and how many classes they have to have, what their GPA has got to be for them to be eligible in football or basketball or baseball. They don't know the ins and outs. All they know is to give money. And LSU and all the colleges are so dependent on that, they will fold like a taco. They will fold like a taco when he says something. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Absolutely unbelievable. That's what gets me about that big time. NCAA tournament, Final Four for women and men. Success? We'll find out when we come back as we're talking sports with me, Chris Powers. Before we go to that, I want to tell you about this weekend. We got the Strawberry Festival going on this weekend, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday in Ponchatoula. Oh, it's going to be fine. Get your strawberry daiquiris. I saw you doing that. Get your strawberry daiquiris, baby. You got 1 million strawberry seeds in the bottom. That's where you know it's authentic. Paul's Cafe makes them. Oh, and they're so good. They use the New Orleans rum. And they're so delicious. Inside the festival grounds, there's all kind of food, activities for the family. There's rides, there's music. There's 2 stages full of music at all times. One stage is going on with music, then the other stage goes on with music right after. So it's never a time in between where you don't have music going on. There's plenty of rides. There's egg toss. There's parade on Saturday. There'll be a big parade on Saturday morning right there on Pine Street, downtown. So here's what you do. You can do it this way. Go down to I-12, if you're coming from Baton Rouge, I-12, get 55 South, going through New Orleans, get off of the Ponchatoula exit. The only problem with that is it gets busy around Pine Street that way until you find a parking spot. Okay, number one. Number two, you can go I-12, keep going I-12, past the mall exit. You'll see the mall, Macy's and Best Buy right there on your left. Keep going to the next exit, it's airport exit. You take that right, go all the way down till it comes to an end. That's Pine Street. 22. You go all the way down 22, and you get the back way that way. You won't have as much traffic. That's a good way to get through. Same thing with, coming from New Orleans. You're going to have to go down Pine Street unless you want to go all the way around. You go down Pine Street, you're going to be stuck in traffic a while. But it's great weather this weekend. It's fun for the whole family. That, again, is Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Ponchatoula, you can't miss it. You'll see all the booths and everything. It's going to be unbelievable. The Ponchatoula Strawberry Festival, and you get the best homegrown strawberries. And I'm telling you right now, they're not like California strawberries. I tell you a story. A cousin of mine drives a truck, and he told me he had a bunch of produce in the back of his truck, and fruit, all produce and fruit. And he went to close the door, and he said, "Oh, wait a minute." And he said the bananas were all green, the tomatoes were green, everything was just not ripe. He said, "Oh, wait a minute." And he took a spray, and he went in there and sprayed all over. And he said, "Now close the door." When my cousin got to his destination, all of the fruit and produce were ripe as rain. See what I mean? They don't do that in Ponchatoula. They get it right from the field, right to the flats, and you buy it right there on the spot. That's what I love about it. They also got jam there. Oh, my God. The strawberry jam is to die for. To put it on your toast and stuff like that, oh, yeah. You talk about good, yeah. Plus, they got seafood, po' boys, all that stuff. They got it all there. You'll love it. Strawberry Festival this weekend, 10th through the 12th, right there in Ponchatoula. You don't want to miss that. Back in a moment, talking NCAA tournament right here. Talking sports with me, Chris Powers, on right here, Pelican Sports TV.
We're a nation of hardworking Americans, and businesses will always be the lifeline of this great country. As a business owner, you understand the importance of your reputation. In times of uncertainty, you need a real lawyer who's serious about protecting you and your business. You need a problem solver. You need the law firm of Clayton and Fouger. Tony Clayton is a proven trial lawyer. He'll defend you and your business to the fullest extent of the law. Protect your investment and call the law firm of Clayton and Fouger today.
Hi, I'm Pro Football Hall of Famer Marshall Falk, and we're standing here in the Tony Clayton Center, and I just want to let you know, if you're involved in any accident, please call my friend Tony Clayton, 344-7000. That's 344-7000.
For a lot of people, going to the dentist brings anxiety. It can feel cold, rushed, even intimidating. We get it. That's why we built something different. We take the time, we listen, we know your name and your story, because you're more than just a patient. Your family. You don't have to dread the dentist. You just need the right one. Call or visit FougerFamilyDentistry.com to schedule.
Live and play on the fairway at Greystone Golf and Country Club, a serene, challenging golf destination located in Denham Springs. For tee times and membership opportunities, go to GreystoneCountryClub.com.
All right, welcome back, everybody. We're talking sports with me, Chris Powers. And NCAA tournament is over. Final Four for men and women. TV ratings for the NCAA tournament were up, but that's account of CBS and what have you. I think having the national championship and the Final Four period on TBS is absolutely dead right stupid. It's not on network TV. Not everybody has cable. Some people do, some people don't. And to me, it should be available for everybody that wants to watch the game. Why would you have it on TBS, for God's sakes? They have Friends reruns that last all day. Seinfeld runs 7 episodes in a row. Like I haven't seen Seinfeld in 10 million years. So why would I put it on TBS? That's the dumbest damn thing I've ever seen. Now, if I'm the NCAA president when the contract comes renewed, you either change that and make it to where it's always on CBS, not your sister station, TBS, TNT, or, I don't know, GoFundMe page or go, screw the neighbor's dog page. I don't want it on any of those pages. I want it on your station, network TV, and if I don't get it, you go somewhere else. We're going to go to ABC, ESPN. We'll go to NBC. Somebody wants this contract. You obviously don't want it. You want to put another episode of, I don't know, Survivor, and 20 years ago. You want to put the millionth episode of Survivor on when all of that's fake. Reality shows are fake. I've had too many people that's been on reality shows that have told me it's all scripted. Well, if I want to watch a scripted show, I watch good actors because they're not good actors. So, but anyway, it was stupid. It was dumb. Michigan beats UConn in the championship game. It was a good one. No question about that. Michigan just showed they're a better team, but UConn wasn't that far behind. 69-63 final score in that game, which is weird. This is what UConn, they ended up shooting 31% from the field. When you shoot 31% from the field, you're not winning. You're not going to win. They shot 21 out of 68, 27% from downtown, and 75% from the free throw line. You're not going to win games like that. You're just not. Michigan came in, and they shot right at 40% from the field. That makes a difference right there. It's a 9% difference, and that makes a hell of a difference. And that was a 6-point game. A 2-possession game, but it's still a 2-possession game, and that's why they won. So that was the thing that I noticed with that. They had players that were missing too many shots. That was another thing. And I think overall, Michigan proved they were the best team in college basketball, 37-3 on the year. The Huskies gave it. I think the Huskies were there because of the fact of their coach. Coach Hurley is an unbelievable coach, man. I'm telling you that right now. He's an incredible coach. They should have even been there. But they upset – well, I don't want to say it was an upset because Illinois was number 3 seed. They were number 2 seed, but they played really well. Illinois was playing very well. They had the number 1 offense in the NCAA tournament left. But it was UConn beating Duke that surprised me. Even though the 35-foot shot, yeah, but still, with a 35-foot shot, still, you don't leave it down to chance that. Duke should have run right by them and not even got close. Shouldn't have even been close. So that was the thing on that. But I thought the NCAA tournament overall was okay. Not the NCAA tournament, the Final Four in Indianapolis. I looked at a list of favorite places to have Final Fours. Indianapolis is one of them. New Orleans, of course, is another. I forgot who was the others, but there was a list of other ones. Houston does a decent job. San Antonio was another one on that list. San Antonio's everything's walkable. And Indianapolis said, we're a good Final Four city because of the fact we have hotel rooms close in proximity. You have 7,000 hotel rooms for a 80,000-seat stadium to host basketball. 7,000 rooms. Does that sound like they're a good host? Where New Orleans has 40,000 rooms in a close proximity race. 40,000. Regardless, but, that's the way that is. And then the Final Four for the women, that's why you don't bet on sports. South Carolina beats the snot out of UConn, who hadn't lost a game all year. Didn't lose a game all year. And South Carolina really controlled that game from the get-go. And then you play UCLA, and UCLA dominated that game from the get-go, who barely beat Texas in the Final Four and have barely beat Duke, who beat LSU. But that game, UCLA was destined to win their first national championship in women's basketball. First one ever. They shot 43% from the field, where South Carolina, I was about to say USC, and I hate that, University of South Carolina. The Lady Gamecocks shot 29%. Not even close. That's not even close. That's like facing Mike Tyson with one arm tied behind your back. And are you expected to win? No, you're not going to win. They shot 13% from three-point land. 13%. 76% from the free throw line. Now, on the other side, how about this? UCLA shot 43% from the field, 42% from downtown. 42% from downtown. And 85% from the free throw line. There's no hack-a-shack here. They won it, and they won it easily. 79-51 final score in that deal. That was, like I said, it was not an unbelievable game. That's why I don't bet on sports. Because I would have bet South Carolina the way they beat UConn, the way UConn beat everybody. I would have bet UConn would have won that game against South Carolina. And then since South Carolina dominates, then I'd have went to Vegas and I would have bet that nobody's going to beat South Carolina. Not even an NBA team. Not the Pelicans can even beat South Carolina. But not only were they beaten by another women's team in UCLA, they got the snot beat out of them. So that's why I don't bet on sports. My brother, bet on sports, and he won. Congratulations. Nothing against my brother. I love my brother to death. I think he's won 2 years in a row. But we did an office pool party when I worked for a company. Always the people that didn't know about college basketballs, like the women, who said, we're picking them because they have the pretty jerseys. Oh, I like a Cardinal. I'm picking Louisville Cardinals. What? Are you kidding me? Now, my brother's not like, my brother knows sports. Are you kidding me? So this pool thing, that's why it's so popular. Anybody can win, and you don't know, And then these way too early polls for next year, get out of here. That's a waste of time. Because you don't know who's coming back. They can transfer. You don't know who's going to be going to the NBA. When they do it in football, every college sports is stupid. Now, pro sports is different because you know who's coming back because they're contractually obligated to be back and all of that. Okay, that's still crazy because you don't know. Everybody's going to put Kansas City up there at all times. But they're not necessarily they're going to win. I'm talking about the Chiefs in football. So these early polls, I think, is stupid. I think is dumb. How about North Carolina hiring a coach with no North Carolina ties for the first time since 1952? That's 2 years before Marty was born. That's 74 years ago. Marty, you 76? No, I'm just joking with you, brother. Michael Malone, who coached the NBA for the Nuggets, And it was so stupid. He was fired last year for the Denver Nuggets after winning a world title. They won a world title with Denver. Only the Denver Broncos have won a world title in the city of Denver. Nobody wins in Denver, but they win a NBA title, and a couple of years later, their coach loses 4 games in a row, 79 games in the season, and they fire him. They fired him. So he's been out of coaching since then. And now he comes to coach college. Last time he coached college was 2001 as an assistant for Manhattan. So he knows a little bit about college, but he didn't spend much time in college sports. He spent most of his time in the NBA as an assistant. He, in fact, was with the Pelicans at one point. So he now comes, Michael Malone is the new coach for North Carolina. Will he be successful? Don't know. Coach K, who I one time was rude back to him when he was rude to me, said it on Pat show that he said, well, North Carolina already got a pro coach, and he didn't make a change yet. Wow, okay. And Duke beat them in football. Wow, that's what he said. A little shot there. So anyway, I don't know. Will it be any good? I don't care. I don't care if North Carolina's good or not. I mean, maybe it's good for the sport, but I don't care if North Carolina's ever good again. My nephew don't want to hear that. My nephew's a big North Carolina fan, but I could care less if Carolina's going to be successful or not. I want LSU to be successful. That's who I want to be successful. But anyway, so I don't know. You know, go with it or not. Don't know. Don't care if they will be big or not. But anyway, all right. Some other things to talk about coming up. President Trump signs a new bill for NCAA. We'll talk about that coming up here in a moment as we continue talking sports with me, Chris Powers. Marty's in the house, and we'll be back right after this. Jonathan, I don't know. Jonathan's having a conversation with Alan. They're drinking beer and having fun and eating Roy's back over there in the corner, I think. Anyway, we'll be back right after this time out right here on Pelican Sports TV.
You can't smell it, but you can almost taste it. And whether it's for a family get-together or a game day feast, having Manda in the mix always sounds good. For 3 generations, their quality meats and original seasonings have made Manda a Louisiana legend and made their family sausage Louisiana's family sausage. Manda Fine Meats, the flavor says it all.
We're a nation of hardworking Americans, and businesses will always be the lifeline of this great country. As a business owner, you understand the importance of your reputation. In times of uncertainty, you need a real lawyer who's serious about protecting you and your business. You need a problem solver. You need the law firm of Clayton and Fouget. Tony Clayton is a proven trial lawyer. He'll defend you and your business to the fullest extent of the law. Protect your investment and call the law firm of Clayton and Fouget today.
Hi, I'm Pro Football Hall of Famer Marshall Faulk, and we're standing here in the Tony Clayton Center, and I just want to let you know, if you're involved in any accident, please call my friend Tony Clayton, 344-7000. That's 344-7000.
All right, welcome back, everybody, as we continue talking sports with me, Chris Powers. President Trump signed a new bill for the NCAA. Again, don't know, it ain't going to stay, because you know how these and it's judges that overturn the college kids that do this. Again, another example of how this sport is just absolutely just stupid. It's dumb. You wouldn't run your business this way, or you wouldn't be in business. You'd be out of business before you would know it. It's called the Urgent National Action to Save College Sports. Order limits athletes to 5 years of eligibility. I think back in the day, there was an eligibility. There was like a certain age limit. And I agree with that. Coach Saban agrees with that. Coach Saban says these 24, 25, 26-year-olds should not be playing with a 19 and 20-year-old. Should not be. They're men. These are still young athletes. So that's there right then itself. That needs to happen. You got 5 years. If you're hurt 2 of the years, well, that's the luck of the draw, bro. You're not made for this sport. You're not made for the sport. That's just like a baseball player who thinks he's an athlete and he's not. And the baseball players will tell you that. Pro baseball players will tell you they're not athletes. They're baseball players. They can't play football. They'd be gone just like that. If you get hurt in baseball, you're going to get hurt in football. I mean, majorly. So if you get hurt and you don't, I'm sorry. That's the way it is. You should have 5 years and that's it. 5 years of eligibility and right in consecutive order. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Period. Sorry. Transfers one time and then you have to sit out anytime after that. I say one time only. And that's what I've always said, one time. One time only. That's all you get to transfer. One time, because you're not building stability. You're not teaching that kid responsibility. One time only. That's all you get to transfer. One time. That's it. And you can't do it in a 4-year or 5-year deal with that one team. That means you're not ready to start. You're not going to start. Because if you think you could play, you're back up at LSU and think you could come and play and be the star at LSU, I mean at Southern, you're thinking, no. Southern got players there too. They don't have the depth that LSU has. But they got good players too. You're going to have to win that position. And you're not always guaranteed you're going to start. I've seen it happen firsthand. I've seen transfers come from Florida State or from Alabama or wherever other school. And they don't start at Southern. They don't. Sometimes they do. Sometimes they don't. They think they're going to come and dominate. No, you don't. NIL and financial control. Well, it's about time. Again, financial control in NIL. You're spending too much money in football. Too many personnel. You got a personnel to make you feel good about what you eat. Come on, man. And that's not including the nutritionists that you have. You got other people doing jobs that they don't even show up for work, but they get a paycheck for it. No, that shouldn't be the case. You shouldn't have that many people on your football staff, period. You got to limit the amount of football money you can spend altogether. And everybody's got to do it, not just LSU. Then Ohio State's got to do it. Everybody's got to do it together. It can't be just one or one out the other, because then you're not going to compete. If you're an LSU, you can't compete with Ohio State if they're spending whatever they want. It has to be a federally funded deal. And the problem is, it's because there's other schools that are cutting Olympic sports and women's sports. Like, Marty, your daughter played volleyball, right? Some schools are wanting to cut that out because they're paying too much money for basketball and football. You think that's fair? Didn't they have a Title IX way back in the day that helped save women's sports and protect it? But yet at the same time, you're paying so much money in college football and basketball that you don't have money for any other Olympic sport or women's sports. No, that's out. It's got to be a limit on how much you could spend on a college team. Not a pro team, a college team. If schools don't comply with this, they won't get federal funding. Now, what you're saying, okay, well, we're getting money from boosters. That's the way they're saying. We're getting money from here and there, but guess what? They won't get federal money for the university, and the university president will say, oh, whoa. I need my federal funding, so this ain't going to fly. No, you will not be able to do this. If you don't comply with this, you're not going to be able to do this because we got to get money for our library. We got to get money for this research center, that research center, for dorms, for roads, construction and stuff. We're getting federal grants from this. And if we don't get federal grants because of what you did in sports, the athletic director, bye. You go sell the drive-thru at Wendy's because you're not even going to get Raising Cane's with Todd Graves. You're out. So if schools don't comply, they will not get federal funding for the university. That's what this bill states. Now, some way, these lawsuits have to stop dictating sports. They got to stop. This Ole Miss quarterback, Trinidad Chambliss, started in 2021, for God's sakes. Now 2025 he plays. Oh, so 01 he redshirted. 22 he didn't play. 23 and 24 he played for Ferris State. And 25 he played at Ole Miss. This guy's 140 years old and he wants to still play college sports because he probably can't compete on the NFL level. Well, regardless of what it is, he'll be 24 years old. On serious note, he'll be 24 when he plays this year if he does. Because the NCAA is thinking about banning him because a federal judge in Mississippi. In Mississippi, y'all. So, no, I want that boy to play. I want him to play, so I'm going to make sure it happen. No. He don't need to do that in a federal judge in Mississippi. Well, of course he's going to say let him play. Of course he is. So the NCAA is thinking of this. Go ahead and let him play. We're thinking about making you ineligible. If you play him and you don't abide by our rules, you're ineligible to compete for any playoffs or any bowl games. You're ineligible. You will be ineligible. And you might not be able to get recruiting money either. I mean, you recruit. We have to also condense your recruiting. We'll make it an NCAA violation. Good for you. For the first time, I'm pulling for the NCAA on this. I don't think he should play. If he was an LSU quarterback, if he transferred to LSU, I don't think he should play. Trinidad Chambliss, your career is done. Sorry, it's over. You get 5 years to do it. Nick Saban is very against this again. And Nick Saban's got a great mind. And Nick Saban has a lot of influence, not only with President Trump, but he has a lot of influence when it comes to collegiate sports. I agree with it 100%. 5 consecutive years to play. If you are in 21 to 25, that's it. Well, you're done. That's 5 seasons. Because I know how it counts. It counts as 4 years, but you count 21 seasons, 22, 23, 24, and 25. 5 seasons. You're gone. You're done. Thank you for your deal. Now go to the NFL. So I don't know what's going to happen with that deal. But again, you're going to have lawsuits for years now. The collegiate athlete has been filing lawsuits against the NCAA, and these judges keep them winning. They keep them winning, and that's what you're dictating the rules for the NCAA. You don't have that in the National Football League. You don't have that in the NBA, where no judge gets involved with the NBA or NFL, and they try to and they lose because the laws are the laws. The rules are the rules. You got to abide by the rules, and they're in place for a reason, so that's no unfair advantage for anybody else. But these judges overturn them every single time. And that's what the problem is. The judges have too much power. I've said that for years, and everybody just looked at me. Well, it's a system we have. We have to go with it. Really? That's the way you want to go with that? How we can't perfect the laws is unbelievable. How you can have a president of the United States, the most powerful guy in the world, but not the most powerful person in America. A Democratic judge is, because a Democratic judge will try to overturn something. That anything that Trump does, because they hate Trump, they'll overturn it. And I'm not here to get political or what have you, but I'm just saying that should never be the case. Never. There never should be the case. Because you got things that Trump's doing that other presidents have done, but it's all right for them, but it's not all right for Trump. Because you hate Trump. That's not the way it flies. That's not the way that should fly. But the law system with the judges, they got way too many power. I've seen it over and over again where he's supposed to dictate the law. Don't change your law. You're not writing the law. You're not a legislator. You don't write bills. You make sure the law is being dictated and what it is done. I'm sorry, the law dictates this. I've seen it before where a judge saw this guy. He must have been in a bad mood or something. His wife didn't give him loving, tender care the night before. And he told a guy that I know that you had to go and get another job to make up the other job you used to have to make up the child support for your ex-wife and your child. So you're making $50,000 now. You got to go out and get another job to make $100,000 to where you can pay this amount of child support. No, the law dictates the money you make. The state law, the money you make. That's how much your child support comes out of. I think it's 12%. 12% of that goes to the child support. You don't say you have to go out and get another job. That's disgusting. But that judge did it. He made his own law. And his lawyer just sat there like a freaking bump on a log, like a goofball. I would have got on that judge, and I said, well, we're going to appeal it, and next time you run for election, I'm going to campaign against you, brother, because it's stupid. You don't dictate the law. You make sure the law's carried out. But that's the way these judges are. You have too much power. All right, when we come back, we got other sports talking about coming up as we continue talking sports with me, Chris Powers, right here on Pelican Sports TV.
We're a nation of hardworking Americans, and businesses will always be the lifeline of this great country. As a business owner, you understand the importance of your reputation. In times of uncertainty, you need a real lawyer who's serious about protecting you and your business. You need a problem solver. You need the law firm of Clayton and Fouger. Tony Clayton is a proven trial lawyer. He'll defend you and your business to the fullest extent of the law. Protect your investment and call the law firm of Clayton and Fouger today.
Hi, I'm Pro Football Hall of Famer Marshall Faulk, and we're standing here in the Tony Clayton Center, and I just want to let you know, if you're involved in any accident, please call my friend Tony Clayton, 344-7000. That's 344-7000.
Live and play on the fairway at Greystone Golf and Country Club, a serene, challenging golf destination located in Denham Springs. For tee times and membership opportunities, go to GreystoneCountryClub.com.
You can't smell it, but you can almost taste it. And whether it's for a family get-together or a game day feast, having Manda in the mix always sounds good. For 3 generations, their quality meats and original seasonings have made Manda a Louisiana legend and made their family sausage Louisiana's family sausage. Manda Fine Meats, the flavor says it all.
All right, welcome back, everybody. Welcome back. I guess I was telling Marty, I guess I got to file taxes. Next week is the deadline, right? Well, I could be a sovereign citizen and not file it.
Just skip the,
They get away with it.
yeah, skip.
I don't have to have a driver's license to drive, do I? Do I have to have insurance too? So many people are not obeying the law anyway. Might as well. I got on this lady the other day. It was at Benny's. This guy parked in the only handicap spot there was. Only handicap spot there was. He walked with no problem. His wife walked with no problem to the beauty salon next door while they kept occupied the one spot they had for handicapped people. When are they going to stop that crap? Next time I see Liz Miro, you want to impress me? Why don't you stop that? Why don't you get that out right now? That if they don't have the handicap person, why do you have that tag? Well, my grandmother. Where's she at? Well, she's not with me. Ticket. And give the money to the police department. Give 50%, 75% to the police department. I guarantee you they'll start writing more tickets out. If you don't have that handicapped person with you, you should not be parking in a handicapped spot. And the reason I'm so upset by that, and my family don't understand, because my mom, who is handicapped, goes to park in one of those spots, and she has no availability. So she leaves and goes without food. She goes back to home because there's no spot for her at Walmart. Because people that have a handicapped parking spot that shouldn't be parking there because they got it from their grandmother, they got it from whatever, and they're using it. Shame on you. And that lady says, what business is of yours? And I said, I'll tell you what business is of mine. And I told her just that, what I just told you. I said, you ought to be ashamed of yourself. You ought to be ashamed of yourself. And you know what? You keep doing that, one day I hope God punishes you and you do get in an accident. You do need that handicapped spot. And you can't get it because of the fact that everybody else is parked in that spot. I hope that happens to you. Because I also seen an older couple that went into the grocery store the other day. Well, tried to, couldn't do it. They did the same thing my mom did. That lady was in the handicapped spot and left her buggy right there on the side. And I watched a couple just leave. I watched a couple leave. I watched them leave out of the parking lot, straight out of here. They couldn't get in. They're not parking way out in the parking lot because they're handicapped. That's what kills me about that. And we don't enforce the laws better than what we do. Why there's a legislative session then? If you're not going to enforce the laws, why is there a legislative session? I see tons of people doing this while they're driving. That's supposed to be illegal. Cops ain't enforcing that. What are y'all doing? At the donut shop?
They doing it too.
Yeah, they're doing it too. It's just disgusting. All right, let's go back to sports. Angel Reese traded to Atlanta. Don't blame them. Chicago, bye-bye. Good riddance. At 14.1 points per ball game, 12.9 rebounds per game. 12.9 rebounds are her own shots that she misses. And the 14.1 points per ball game is her underneath the rim. She cannot shoot 3 feet from the goal. She can't do it. She's too much of a drama queen. She's too much of a cancer in the locker room. I would not have her on my team. I don't care if I own an NFL team, A.J. Brown, go play somewhere else, bud. You ain't playing on my team. And then they gave him a bonus. Philadelphia gave him a bonus anyway. You're not going to play on my team. You're not. I don't want anybody that has bad character issues like you to go punch a fan in the stands and say it was he's made a racist comment when the microphones were on you and he not said one thing about race. Not one thing. And you lied. So not only you lied, you punched a fan. He should be suspended from the NFL for a whole year. For a whole year. See, the NFL don't let fans dictate, or the NFL don't let sponsors dictate. They do what they want to do because they're not letting fans run their league. But she's more of a drama queen. As you know, I'm not a big fan of Angel Reese. I've heard good stories about her, what she's done here and what she's done there, and I think she wants to be good. But she wants that bad girl, Detroit Pistons former image. You want the bad girl image, you got it. You got it. And you wonder why people don't like you? Because you want the bad girl image and you got it. So live with it. In the bed you sleep in that you made, you sleep in it because that's what you did. You did it on your own. LSU baseball's tied for 7th in the SEC. They're 6-6 and 22-12 overall. Back in the polls at number 24, at least in the D1 poll and the ESPN poll, but not in the other poll. They looked better against Tennessee, but Tennessee's not ranked. When Curiel hit that grand slam home run to win the game. It was awesome. I was at Dempsey's on Coursey Boulevard having delicious dinner with my family, and that happened. Everybody went nuts over that. He had a grand slam home run. That was absolutely beautiful. Right now, LSU would not host a regional. They'd have to be on the road for regional. Will they get better? Will this help them get better? I don't know. Right now, they're tied for 7th. They're 6-6 in the SEC. Don't know. LSU women's basketball, losing freshman guard Bella Hines to the portal. Now, her dad came out and said, it's in today's paper, that it's more to the story than her just transferring. Grow up. Grow up. Let your daughter have a little, a little discipline or whatever the hell it is. I don't know. What is it? Why? So that sounds like drama too. Angel Reese Part 2. Bye. You can go. You can go. She'll put somebody else in that spot. She'll put somebody else in that spot. Catch you later. I hope she stays. But at the same time, look, I'm honest with my son. Well, my son, like I told you, tried out for the football team. You don't have an athletic bone in your body. But I can teach you every day. You and I sit here and work every day. I'll teach you how to play the sport. He didn't. He decided to be a Marine, and I love him just as much. Don't try to make excuses for your kids. That's why they don't get it. Well, the good news is, the day before that, LSU signed the #1 center in the country. She's from the Shreveport area, Caroline Bradley from Oak Grove in the Shreveport area. Congratulations. Good news. She's coming to LSU. She's happy about the deal. That's awesome to do that. So LSU women's basketball gets a good boost right there when they get her. She's got the #5 player recruited overall in the nation. #1 center and #5 overall recruit. LSU, the transfer portal just opened up not long ago, this week. Yeah, this week it opened up. So more transfers could be coming in, and we'll have to wait and see. So that's good news from LSU that the women's basketball keeps going and going. So I said there's 4 or 5 teams that can compete, but, maybe there might be, like LSU did when they won a national title. They were the #3 seed at that time, and they won, and it shocked all of us. Their bench play played good. Their starters didn't play well in that game, but their bench players played good enough to win. And with that, maybe LSU does have a shot. With what I seen this past weekend, with South Carolina getting destroyed by UCLA, who destroyed UConn, maybe we do have a shot. I don't know. Maybe we do have a shot of an LSU team winning a national title. If everybody's staying, which they are, except for the ones that are graduating, Michaela Williams is going to stay. Fulwally is going to stay. Then LSU might have a shot to win a national title next year. They might be in the Final Four. I don't know. We'll see. It could be worse. You could be Tennessee's women's program right now. They have nobody left on their roster. Everybody's gone. Everybody transferred out. They're leaving. The recruits that you had coming in are gone. You talk about a toxic deal. They lost 10 out of 12 games at the end. Assistant Gabe Lozo left. He apparently was popular. He had originally said he was coming to LSU, but then he signed to UCF. So that kind of shady, but anyway. So he's going to UCF because he's a higher position assistant coach there than he would be at LSU. He'd be a recruiting guy at LSU. Now, LSU replaced him. They got another guy in that spot, or that other person in that spot. Assistant Roman Tubner was fired. No reasons why. They don't have to give a reason why. The only thing is now the media can request, it's a public university, the media can say, we need to see the records why he was fired. What cause did you have to fire him? And they can file a lawsuit and win. They can do that. So they can find out why Roman Tubner was fired. Players talking about toxic environment in the locker room. No players left. ESPN reports there's one player that's still on the roster, but most of the publications saying there's not. There's zero. So they're going to have to rebuild and have to get people from the transfer portal that didn't expect to play anywhere else, which means you're not going to get a good team. So my question is this. With Coach Caldwell having the baby, did that ruin her career? Did that ruin it? And the reason I say that, I'm on both sides of the fence. Why? Because we all know moms are an important part. Women are the rock of our family, period. They're the ones that are the cool-headed ones. They're the ones that are best make decision makers because they have cool heads. We don't have patience as guys, okay? So with that being said, women have been treated differently when they get pregnant while they're playing or coaching sports. And, first thing a woman's watching this is going to say, oh, that guy is being sexist. He's not true. Well, every time I bring up a point, I bring up facts with it. Women have been treated as a liability, often as leading to financial penalties, loss of sponsorships, and missed professional opportunities. This is facts. It's not hearsay. It's all facts. An anonymous coach reported where a national-level coach was fired 9 days after informing the program of her pregnancy. 9 days. Coincidence? Charlie Turner, different situation. Charlie Turner Thorne, Arizona State coach, worked without maternity leave because of the fear of losing her job. I guess that shouldn't be the case. The only problem is when you're going to have a baby, though, as a head coach, you got so much responsibility. Look how much the coaches work right now. They work nonstop because of the transfer portals, NIL money, recruiting. They're nonstop. They're not like pro coaches that get off a lot. College coaches don't get off a lot. So you figure it out. I don't think should be fair in a way. I don't know. Atlanta Falcons James Pierce Jr. not with a team, dealing with 3 felonies in the NFL. Great. You got a great guy there. The Saints pick up Breezy's 5-year option. Masters tournament this weekend, and the Pelicans destroy the Jazz 156-137 last night. Wow. I'm Chris Powers. We'll see you next week on Talking Sports with me, Chris Powers. Till then, bye-bye.
Rocks and fires. Tommy White with it. Johnson heads to the